Well, good Saturday evening, everyone. Let's try this again. Todd Bourne here in the Forecast Center with the latest update on what's ahead of us for the rest of tonight and tomorrow morning. Obviously, I'll be recording this again, and it's going to be posted within the KTAL Now app. If you want to watch it on your Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV, it's going to be available there shortly after we conclude. If you have a question or a comment, as always, feel free to ask away, as we'll say our hellos here in a second. I'm going to give you a quick observation of the radar right now. We have another pretty good band of mainly freezing rain, which is moving across East Texas, Northwest Louisiana. This is moving towards the north and east, and we have seen a little bit of freezing rain move through Shreveport. A pretty good batch down here towards Carthage Center and Mansfield will work its way up here fairly shortly. Temperatures in Natchitoches just right at 32, I believe, so we are close to freezing here over the southern parts of the area where we haven't had, at least Sabine and Natchitoches parishes, a whole lot of ice thus far. That is going to be changing during the rest of the nighttime hours tonight. And right off the top, I'll tell you that the most concerning part of the ArkLaTex for the rest of tonight is pretty much going to be in the same part of the area that we were worried about and actually did see the heaviest ice and thickest ice accumulations with the first round last night and this morning. Further to the northwest, you're probably going to be looking at freezing rain to begin, and then you'll transition to more sleet more than likely. And I'll have the details on exactly how much here in a second. So that's what's happening right now, and we'll go through how this will play out here in a second. But in the meantime, let's say our hellos, which is tradition. Drew, hello. Tano in Texarkana, greetings to you. Drew says it's sleeting in Ashdown right now. I think you'll get some freezing rain, Drew, and I'm going to explain why here in a second, but it's mainly going to be sleet and eventually some snow. Amanda, I agree. Stay safe and warm at home, everyone. Christopher, hello, in Mount Pleasant. I'm glad you still have power. My weather station has not detected any yet, although I expect it to later on this evening and especially later on tonight as the final wave moves into the area. Nita, good evening. David in Idabel, hello. Eric says 19 in Colbert, Oklahoma. You're a bit colder than we are. Again, the thermometer in Texarkana is offline right now, so don't know what the temperature is there. I know it was in the teens earlier this afternoon. 19 right now in Magnolia. So again, it is cold across the northern parts of the area. Let's see. Gail says lower 20s at your location, which is, I don't know where that is. Chris, hello there. Cold front Chris has entered the building. Greetings, Chris. Tano, lost power. I'm glad your power is back on, Tano, and hopefully you get mainly sleet tonight and you don't have that issue anymore for the rest of the night tonight. Yes, Christopher, this is reminiscent of many of your dreams that you often tell us about. Gary, hello. Kristen in Ashdown, greetings. Cheyenne in Pittsburgh, you lost power for an hour and a half. I'm glad it's back on, and hopefully it doesn't again happen again. Yes, Chris, long time no see. Hannah in Nashville, hello. Chris in Texarkana, greetings. Debbie in McNeil, hello. Donnell, greetings. Welcome back. Cheyenne, just joining. Well, Cheyenne, depending on where you are, you can see the pink. That's some more freezing rain that's headed northward. So we'll see this first mini wave, if you will, arrive and move through this evening, and then a bigger wave of more widespread and potentially heavier precipitation will come in later on tonight, and I will show you that here in a second. Marshall is whiteout, huh? A little bit of sleet there, Gail. Annette, hello. April, greetings. Chris, hello. Chris says some sleets covered the road, huh? I would probably can imagine that, Chris. Melanie in New Boston, hello. Cheryl in Lake of the Pines, greetings. Bonnie says 21 in Texarkana right now. Jeremy wants to know snow for Texarkana, mainly sleet, some freezing rain, and as it wraps up, a little bit of snow will be possible. All right, let me get going here, and you can see the totals the Weather Service have reported so far. The peak thickness of the ice so far, based on the reports, 3/4 of an inch in Hall Summit there in Red River Parish. We did see more than likely a 1/2 inch in DeSoto Parish. In Timpson, you can see that 1/2 inch. And that part of the ArkLaTex there, basically just south of Shreveport, down through DeSoto, Red River, parts of Bienville Parish, got the brunt of the icing. You can see New Boston, 1/4 of an inch. Bethany, southwest of Shreveport, 1/4 of an inch. And Texarkana, 2/10. In Shreveport, 2/10. We've been very lucky. And if you would have told me yesterday that we would only get 2/10 from round one, I would be happy. And right now I am, and I'm hoping we don't double that during the night tonight. This is the sleet reports. The heaviest in Panola County, an 1.5 inches. Joaquin, 1.5 inches. Wake Village and Shreveport, both an inch in spots. A couple of reports there, and you can see they go down to a 1/2 inch. These are just basically the top 10 that we've received. Now, earlier, I think in my previous live update, I showed you the sounding from this morning. In other words, the results from the weather balloon launch. This was this morning, and with the morning launch, the temperature was right around 50 degrees at about 3,500 feet. So that's quite warm. And the reason why we saw, at least southern part of the area, mainly liquid, and we're not seeing any snow. We have this nose of warm air that is above us. And what happens is the snowfall from the clouds here, it encounters this warm air as it goes down. And then this right here is the depth of where temperatures are below freezing. And that's not deep enough for the rain to, at least usually, to refreeze back to sleet. And if it doesn't refreeze, that means it didn't have time. If it does, that means it did. And that's the difference between freezing rain and sleet. Freezing rain hits the ground liquid and then freezes. Sleet hits the ground already frozen. All right, so that was this morning. The evening launch, and what happened? Let's see. I thought I had the evening launch showed 54 degrees, a little bit lower. So we've actually gotten warmer, which is concerning because that means it's going to be harder for basically that rain to refreeze before it hits. So we could be dealing with more freezing rain, especially with this first round that is coming through this evening. Power outages across the area, they have been fluctuating up and down. Recently, there has been a slow drop, and you can see the peak numbers here. And most of the 3,000 here in Caddo Parish are in the extreme southern sections of the parish. So this area here basically is the area that got most of the more intense freezing rain. Notice nothing further to the south, as it was mainly rain down in Sabine and Natchitoches Parish, although you did get some down there earlier. So that's the current state of power outages. Oh, here's the graphic that I was looking for. That was this afternoon. I must have put the power outages in between. I apologize for that. So this is this afternoon. They released another balloon just to check, see what that nose was doing, and it was pretty much the same. Now it's 54 degrees. All right. So right now in Shreveport, we're in the mid-20s. It's 25 at the surface, and when they launched the balloon, it's almost 30 degrees warmer, 3,400 feet above us. So not very often you see that, and that's the reason why we have an ice storm warning in effect. All right, so this is the upper level energy back here, and you can see all of this. That's what's coming later tonight. We have this, which is going to move through this evening, and then this will begin to arrive near or a bit after midnight tonight and roll through during the rest of the night into the morning hours tomorrow. And once that clears, we will be pretty much done. So here's a look at the timing of things with Futurecast, and you can see that it shows, first of all, temperatures in the mid-teens, mid to upper teens north, upper teens, lower 20s south as we get to 11 p.m. And you can see those temperatures not really going to change a whole lot here during the night. Notice at 2 a.m. we start to see the darker purples, and you can see a little bit of color shining through here. That is where the cells could be at their most intense. So it does look like this same area, deep East Texas, Shelby, and Panola counties, perhaps southern Caddo Parish, DeSoto Parish, eventually maybe northern Natchitoches Parish, Bienville Parish, could be in line to get some of the heavier freezing rain. And you can see how that plays out as we move to 4 o'clock. That shifts down to the south, and by then you'll be down to 24 in Natchitoches. As we'll see, lows tonight more than likely settle in Shreveport in the low 20s. We'll probably settle into the upper teens further to the north. And you can see by 7 a.m., this is a new run. Futurecast shows the back edge of that mix of freezing rain and sleet moving out of the eastern edge of the area. Notice the blues up here. We could see some wraparound snow over the northern sections of the ArkLaTex, but it doesn't look like a whole lot. Most of your frozen precipitation that you get across the northern part of the area when I show you that graphic is going to be sleet. All right, so and you can see temperatures during the day tomorrow not really going to warm up that much, as we will probably stay in the low to middle 20s for daytime highs. Actually, that is at 6 p.m. Highs probably going to be upper 20s, maybe even 30 in Shreveport is what we're looking at. All right, so how much of the freezing rain, more freezing rain are we looking at? Well, amount's probably going to be lightest here in this light pink area. A good tenth to maybe a quarter of an inch will be possible here. If we get 2/10, again, that would match what we have received so far in Shreveport, which we probably could handle. And you could see another quarter to maybe even a half inch in a few spots possible here over the southeastern third of the area. Very similar location to the pocket that we had, maybe a little bit further to the south than the pocket of ice that we had late last night and this morning. So if we get that quarter to, let's say, Hall Summit, they got 3/4 of an inch of ice. It hasn't melted, right? So you get another quarter to half, let's say you get another half inch, that's an inch and a quarter of ice. And that's when we start to see the devastating impacts on trees with severe damage. So that is definitely within the realm of possibility where we got that heavier freezing rain earlier today. As far as the possibility of how much more sleet, most of this that you see here is going to be sleet. The blended model shows that we might see another inch, maybe an inch and a half or so over parts of southwest Arkansas, northeast Texas, and of course McCurtain County. And again, more of that will be snow over northern McCurtain County. But amounts as far as sleet will be in the range of right around a half an inch to maybe an inch in East Texas and Northwest Louisiana, but probably closer to a half an inch. Especially as you work your way south of Interstate 20, more of that precipitation is going to come down in the form of freezing rain instead of sleet. I think East Texas, Northwest Louisiana, we start off as freezing rain, and then as it begins to wrap up, we'll see some more sleet mix in. I kind of doubt that we'll see much as far as snow here across northwest Louisiana and East Texas. All right, let me pause here and take a look at the questions or stuff and such. Let's see. David, hello, David there in Doddridge, Arkansas. Cheryl. Well, keep in mind, Cheryl, it does move very fast. That's more of a function of how much time I give the loop to play. But this first wave is going to move through fairly quickly this evening. The second wave is going to last a good 6 to 8 hours. So it's and it's going to be persistent. So if we, it's not, the problem is it's going to be moving quickly, but it's big, if you know what I'm saying. So it's going to last a good while. Amber wants to know about El Dorado. You can see you're probably in that half an inch to an inch range as far as additional sleet, maybe a little bit of snow. And you're probably I really think the heaviest is probably going to be to your southeast as far as ice. Another 2/10, quarter of an inch is a possibility. You're probably in this range here. Close to 2/10 might be a good ballpark figure for El Dorado for the rest of tonight and tomorrow morning. Marie, sorry to hear that in Keithville. Hopefully you get it back soon. Again, that was a part of Caddo Parish that was hit the hardest. And Have seen some improvement. So SWEPCO has been, I don't know if you've seen, they have scheduled to have 5,000 crewmen out working here in the next couple of days, as long as conditions are safe. And the good news is once we get into the morning hours, it should end, and they'll have most of the daylight hours tomorrow to work on things. And we have nothing more coming once we get, as far as the ice anyway, especially by the time we get to noon at the very latest. Misty, good evening. Maria, Mount Pleasant. Again, you see the freezing rain number there. Again, probably a tenth, maybe a quarter of an inch, and another maybe inch of sleet is what you could be looking at for the rest of tonight. It does look like, generally speaking, what we get tonight will be similar to what we got last night and this morning. All right, maybe a bit heavier in terms of the ice down in Manny and Natchitoches, where obviously you were a bit warmer. But for most of us, it will be a little bit, maybe a little bit heavier, but very similar. Let's see. I calculated 54, Christopher. Let's see. Jennifer and Maud, hello. Becky in Texarkana, greetings. Mount Enterprise, that is a place that we have not heard about, Rust. I think you mentioned that earlier. I will try to pass that along. Oh. So Chris is back up in Ohio. For those who tune into my lives frequently, Chris occasionally visits and escapes the cold of Ohio and comes down here. And they're back now in Ohio, and they have 10 inches of snow on the ground with a wind chill of 18 below. So put that in the it could be worse drawer when we deal with what we're dealing with tonight. Amanda, hello. Donnell? Just sleep tonight. Exactly. Just sleep through it tonight, Donnell, and it should be almost done by morning. You might even, if you set the alarm early, you might even see some flakes if you're into the snow. Kristen says heavy sleet right now in Linden, which I do see on the radar there. So, yep, that's that band that I mentioned that's moving northward across the area. I'm glad you said sleet, Kristen. That's good news, and also verifies that we'll see less of the ice over the northern sections of the area. Thanks for that, Christopher. Robert wants some cheesy biscuits. Can you drop some by if you find one? Robert, I would appreciate it. Misty, I pretty much answered your question already. Again, maybe a half an inch to an inch of sleet mainly, a few flakes of snow, a tenth to a quarter of an inch of additional ice possible. It is quite possible we could have some thunder sleet tonight, Donna. Drew, the power outage risk probably not as high for the northern part of the area. Obviously, I can't guarantee it, but it probably won't be as high there as it will be where we see more freezing rain. Freezing rain is the culprit when it comes to power outages. Another concern is the wind tomorrow is going to be rather breezy once again, so we get a lot of ice, the power stays on. You know, you get a 10, 15 mile an hour wind blowing those trees around. It could aggravate things somewhat. So that's another thing to consider. Don't expect it, Mary. You got to keep your fingers crossed that it's not going to happen. I'm hoping that it doesn't, because we're about to experience some cold after all this ends, as you'll see here in the second. Reagan, Texarkana, just answered that question, Reagan, and it looks like I've reached the end of the list. So let's take a look at the forecast here for tonight, and I'll get this to go back to the forecast. While we're doing that, you can see the live view from the Nortex tractor camera in Texarkana, a bit wider there in Texarkana than what we have in Shreveport. In Shreveport, again, we did see mainly sleet, fortunately, and we are somewhat white, but not to that extent. Here's the forecast for tonight. You can see the low temperatures, mid to upper teens, over the northern sections of the area. That includes 18. So from where we are right now, we probably aren't going to drop very much more. You can see it's 25 now in Shreveport, 23 for the low tonight, 18 degrees in Texarkana, and you can see that further to the south we will also be in the low 20s in Natchitoches at 23. Tomorrow we will see it all end in the morning, more than likely. A few flakes possible up north in the afternoon as we stay cloudy, somewhat breezy, northwest wind 10 to 15, and it's going to stay cold. We'll try to make it to 30 over parts of northwest Louisiana, probably mid-20s further to the north. And the next concern is going to be the cold. If we do have more widespread power outages, let's hope they don't last too long, because we'll be down into the probably upper single digits to low teens north, low to middle teens further to the south tomorrow night, and then single digits north and low teens further to the south Monday night. You can see we might make it to freezing and above on Monday. 34 is what I have. 42, we should start to melt things pretty good and maybe get rid of most of it Tuesday. 40, it'll be gone by Wednesday, no doubt, even though we will drop at night to 23. And that's another point as we move through the week. Be mindful if you're traveling in the morning, because any moisture that melts, if it doesn't evaporate, is going to refreeze during the night, especially with lows in the middle 20s. Some of you have heard about a chance for more snow late next week. Doesn't look like it's going to take place. Most models show nothing, but it is possible that we'll see mainly rain Friday. Big question will be the timing. If it's earlier or later, obviously a little bit of winter precipitation will be possible. Right now, it doesn't look like much to worry about. And after that, we don't have to worry about the winter stuff probably for the rest of the winter. Fingers crossed. We'll be back into the 50s as we move into that first week of February with 52 by next Tuesday. So that is pretty much everything that I have for you tonight. As always, I appreciate all of you tuning in. And again, if you want to watch this again, maybe can't see something if you're watching on your phone, you can watch it on your TV if you have a smart TV, Roku, Fire TV, or Fire Stick, or Apple TV. You can watch it on the brand new KTAL Now app, which we have been providing content for outside all around the ArkLaTex all day long, and we'll do so again once again tomorrow. So probably going to be my last update for the evening. It's been a long couple days, so I'm going to try to get some sleep after the 10 p.m. newscast, although I will continue to update the winter storm updates live blog on the page until Josh gets up at around midnight tonight. So that's the plan. And then we'll do this all over again tomorrow. I may do sometime in the morning a quick, hey, it's over, what happened update. We'll see how it all plays out. So until tomorrow, everyone stay home, stay safe, keep your fingers crossed the lights stay on, and let's hope this is not as bad as it could be. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good night.